Y'all want to see a cool relic of old computer tech? This metal cage here contains the entire computer for the iMac G3, but there's one piece on here that we don't have on modern computers. Well, correction, there's a lot of things on here that we don't have on modern computers, like FireWire, for example, but there's one thing that caught my attention. So this right here looks like a pretty standard RAM slot, although it's a bit older and obviously an older standard, but it is not for the computer, because right next to it is the GPU. Yeah, actually the RAM for this system is up here in this cage, which is part of this daughter board, which contains the entire PowerPC G3 processor. Yes, that is 128 megabytes of SD RAM. But no, this little guy right here is actually a RAM card for the ATI Rage Pro Turbo graphics that this thing used. So baked right into the motherboard is 2 megabytes of video memory. And for this particular generation of the iMac, they had 6 megabytes of RAM, which meant that this is a 4 megabyte card. But of course, over the years, people have experimented, and the common consensus seems to be that you can put up to 10 megabytes of RAM into this system, meaning it has upgradable graphics memory. Compare that to modern systems where something like an RTX 3070 only has 8 gigabytes of RAM, and upgradable RAM seems pretty nice. Now, obviously memory back then, even graphics memory, was a lot slower than it is nowadays, so whether it was soldered to the board or whether it was put onto a card and plugged in, that didn't really make much of a difference, but with the speed of memory nowadays, especially graphics memory, and the very, very small tolerances for graphics cards, it makes sense that we don't have upgradable memory, but it's still a cool piece of history. Especially considering that this was in an Apple computer, which of course Apple nowadays has a reputation for really not being that upgradable.